Don't you love it, folks? Don't you love it? So right after I get done ranting, about the fact that Silicon Valley is not your friend, right after that, right after I get done ranting about how Silicon Valley is not your friend, that that is when they kill my stream. Very mysterious. That's when the YouTube app on my iPhone goes down and it doesn't let me resume like it sometimes does. That is very, very, very special. Wow. Wow, what a night. What a night. What a night it is. This has been crazy. This has been wild. Well, like I said, I'm not going anywhere. Here I am. Here I am. I'm probably going to have to get off of here in a few minutes, but yeah, really, very, very, very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. Very interesting that right as I'm ranting about Silicon Valley, and I'm about to get into the thing about Silicon Valley, or I'm about to get into the super chats, all of a sudden, then things go down. Very mysterious. Very, very, very mysterious. Wow. And then we're just doing our roll call. I'm calling everyone out as I see you, and boom, it goes down. Technical difficulties. The app just doesn't work. Who knows? We don't know. We don't know. We don't know. Here I am. Here I am, folks. I'm not going away. I will probably actually go away here in a little bit. I can't stay on here for too much longer, but for a few more minutes, I'll tell you what. I will answer like 2 or 3 of these super chats, and then the rest of them I will do in the super chat segment for tomorrow night. I'm saving the paper that I wrote them down on here. I will not lose this, and I will make sure to answer these super chats tomorrow night. It's late here, and so tell you what, I will get to a couple of these things. The first super chat I got tonight was Trump, Modi, Erdogan, are they neoliberal nationalists? Neoliberalism is an economic system, right? Neoliberalism is an economic theory. It is the idea that the government should keep its hands off. Modi, in particular, has gotten condemned widely because of his regulation of the banking system. Right? He has has regulated the banking system in India to be in the interests of his kind of clique of Indian capitalists. Right? And he's been condemned for it. You can read these long screeds in the Wall Street Journal ranting against Modi's banking regulations. So I wouldn't use the word neoliberal for Modi. Now, he is implementing neoliberal reforms now at this point to the agricultural sector. But it's complicated. I mean, he represents the capitalists of India. And not all the capitalists, but a certain faction. He's a Bonapartist in India. Erdogan, again, a similar situation, right? He came to power. There's a lot of sections of the military that are not big fans of Erdogan. He's more religious. Turkey has long been, celebrating the fact that it has secular rule. The Ataturk tradition and all of that. And Erdogan represents a faction in Turkey that's in with the Muslim Brotherhood and more religious. Trump. Trump, in a lot of ways, he advocated neoliberal economics just in one country, right? And I talked about that. If you watch, there's a very good class I gave called What is Neoliberalism? And in that class, I referred to Trump and the new right of Europe as advocates of neoliberalism in one country. Because that seems to be what they're advocating. So neoliberal nationalists is not the term I would use when describing Modi, Trump, and Erdogan. That's not how I would describe them. They all have implemented various elements of neoliberalism for sure. But there is, with all of them, there's a kind of a mixed bag, right? I mean, Trump had his whole trade deals thing. Modi again has regulated banking in India to serve, his allies, and Erdogan, and I wouldn't use that word necessarily. Neoliberalism probably it refers to the prevailing economic theories of those ruling the world. And when it gets down to it, neoliberal nationalists are kind of an oxymoron. I mean, a leader could be an element of both neoliberalism and nationalism, but neoliberalism is an ideology that says there shouldn't be any restrictions on the market, right? That it's for free trade internationally, it's for unregulated capitalism domestically. Get the government off our backs. The government's only role is to facilitate the market sector and flourishing. Whereas nationalism is an ideology that says the interests of my nation should come first, right? It's the idea that I should put the interests of my nation first. So, you can't really be a neoliberal nationalist. I mean, at the end of the day, they contradict. One could have elements of both, but they are contradictory in some sense. Alrighty. What else can I answer here before I jump off? But like I said, the super chats that are here I'm gonna get to them tomorrow. Because I owe it to you all, right? I mean, you did super chat and you will get an answer. As far as the FARC members assassinated, that's awful, and that is horrendous. And what the Colombian right wing is doing by assassinating those leaders is basically, setting the stage for a new armed struggle, right? I mean, if they set a precedent where, there were the negotiations in Cuba and John Kerry met with the FARC folks and if that's happening, they're basically saying, yeah, we don't want to end this war. They're going to force a new armed struggle. And it doesn't just apply to the FARC, right? Other Colombian leftists are going to see that. And the paramilitaries of Colombia, it's almost a situation where it's like, Dr. Frankenstein's monster. I think most of the ruling class would prefer that Colombia, return to some level of stability as a base of U.S. operations in Latin America. But they've created this monster, the paramilitaries, the extreme right in Colombia, and they've kind of lost control to them to some degree. Look, I mean, this is one thing no one talks about the Capitol riot. There's all this talk at the Capitol riot about, the fact that there were Confederate flags there were a lot of racist Americans there, but there was a huge number of people who attended that rally supporting Donald Trump, huge number of them, who were not born in the United States. There were a huge number of people at Donald Trump's Capitol Hill rally who were Korean Americans, who were part of Reverend Sun Myung Moon's Unification Church and believed that Reverend Moon, this Korean pastor, was sent to the earth to unify the world's Christians for a holy crusade against the communists. There was a huge number of people from the Falun Gong cult, the crazy anti-Chinese religious group that believes everyone has a magical wheel in their stomach. A whole bunch of Chinese folks from the Falun Gong were at Trump's Capitol Hill riot. Cuban Americans, Cubans, the Gusanos from Miami, they bust in all their people from Miami. Trump is fighting the communists and the Castro, etc. No one talks about that. Huge amount of Shah supporters, people from the, admirers of the Pahlavi dynasty, people who fled Iran in 1979, all these, Southern California, Persians who hate their homeland and want more sanctions on Iran and are just chomping at the bit and salivating at the hope that the USA will bomb and kill their own people. These self-hating Persians, they were there. Right? Who else was there? Israelis. Again, a huge amount of Israeli flags in that Trump crowd. There were Confederate flags, sure, but there were a huge amount of Israeli flags. Netanyahu supporters, Likudniks, people that are supporters of the Israeli right wing, right? They were there in big numbers. But you won't hear anything about it. And this is the thing. The United States has cultivated around the world and domestically, all around the world, they have cultivated this element, you might call it, of extremist, anti-communist, fanatical communities. And those folks largely support Trump. They largely support Donald Trump. It's their short-term vendetta against Iran or China or Cuba doesn't line up with the interests of American imperialism. They have their short-term, vendetta, and Donald Trump pandered to those folks. And it's kind of like the FARC, in Colombia. The FARC in Colombia, right? They signed a peace treaty. They joined the government, and even if the imperialists think that stabilizing Colombia is in their interest, they created this paramilitary apparatus of crazy right-wing paramilitaries in Colombia who sell drugs and assassinate people, and it looks like they can't control them. And this is what seems to have happened. The United States goes around the world cultivating right-wing extremist anti-communists, and sometimes those people they can't control them, and so there's an element of that, and that they clearly don't like Trump. Trump was considered considered to be somebody who was mismanaging the empire, but he managed to get support from all the kooks and foreign extremists and, that the U.S. government has cultivated around the world. All these fanatical communities that the U.S. government has cultivated, these counter gangs, that's what I call them, counter gangs the U.S. government has set up to fight communists. Well, now they all supported Donald Trump. So, and there's an element here of the Sorcerer's Apprentice, right? You ever see, Mickey Mouse when he's like, he loses control of the creation, right? And the dancing brooms are suddenly everywhere. The Sorcerer's Apprentice, the sorcerer who loses control of his creation. I mean, this myth, right? Or Frankenstein's monster, right? There's a huge element of that in what's going on right now. And look, Donald Trump is very much himself one of those. He's a product. He's a product of the very system that is mad at him. They don't like Donald Trump's populism. But they created him with their reality TV. They created him with their, dumbing everything down. And I mean, Donald Trump is a product of the system created by the very people in the U.S. mainstream centrist ruling class and the American intelligence apparatus who want to get rid of him. They created Trump. They created Marjorie Taylor Greene. They created this stuff, and now they're trying to control it. So, folks, I'm sorry about the interruption there. That was deeply unfortunate. But at this point, I am going to have to say goodnight. But there are a lot more Super Chats to get to. So tomorrow night, when I do my YouTube stream tomorrow night, these will be the first Super Chats I do. These will be the first ones that I do, and then after that, I will get to whatever the new Super Chats are. So I'll be back tomorrow night, folks. It's been a long day, and I am exhausted. Say a prayer for my wife. She's having some health issues, but I think she's going to be okay. I had a long day, accomplished a lot. The CPI manual will be out soon. A new upsurge in the struggle against U.S. imperialism is now emerging throughout the world. Ever since World War II, U.S. imperialism and its followers have continuously been launching wars of aggression. But the people of various countries have been continuously waging revolutionary wars to defeat their aggression. While the danger of a new world war still exists, and the people of all countries must get prepared, revolution is the main trend in the world today. While the danger of a new world war still exists, and the people of all countries must get prepared, revolution is the main trend in the world today. Have a good night.